to know what your makeup of your tenants is kind of roughly, that we only have less than a car per person, per unit. Could you talk a little bit about them, or what they do for a living? How, are there stay-at-home moms? Who lives there?
I would say generally we have about, in this property, we have 50% seniors, and about 40% of the tenants are stated to have a disability, so it's about 40%, and there is about, I would say, 20% working age people.
So it's people on disability, seniors who aren't working, and it's not really young families or whatever.
So maybe 25, with 40 apartments, maybe 25%, maybe about 10 of the households are working families, younger working families.
And my concern is parking and the impact it has on the neighborhood. I appreciate your honesty about talking about Bayport. Bayport knows people are parking there who don't live there, and they hate it. So I'm sensitive to being conscious of the neighborhood and the existing homeowners. Do you identify these cars with stickers?
All of our tenants do get parking stickers to park on site. Of course, we don't control the public streets because the public streets are
right,
controlled
but you control whether they
by the
need
city,
to
yes.
use the public streets.
And that's why we're sticking with the one-for-one. Personally, I'm a non-car person. You know, there's a lot of us that are non-car people, but we feel the one-for-one is a maybe not a 22nd century, but it's a reasonable 21st century compromise between the fact that a lot of people still holding on to their cars without overdoing it, so that the last thing we want to do is encourage any household to get a second car. And with the one spot per unit, the idea is that, and of the one spot per unit, there will be a few designated visitor spaces, so it's not as if every single tenant could have a car on site if they wanted to, but we know that there will be a significant number of tenants who do not have cars. So this one spot per unit allows for every household to have a car.
Okay, and have you ever thought about leasing, if it becomes necessary, leasing some spaces from West Marine? I have never been on
and it's a great redevelopment opportunity.
Hmm?
Okay, so certainly, if again, as I mentioned, the unusual dynamic here is that in the evening the streets are filled with empty spaces, and in the day they're filled with working people dropping off their cars. So to the best of our knowledge, there's plenty of parking there because of that. So when people come home from work, they'd be able to get a two-car family is typically going to be a working family. And so if that were the case, there are spaces at night.
And do people walk to the grocery store, to the landing? Is that how they get their groceries?
Absolutely, and people will hop on the bus to get to Target and back. I mean, it's two stops. You can walk right there, literally to the corner, get on the bus, you're at Safeway, and then come back.
Even with the disability?
Yes, even with the disability. And of course, there's paratransit. Paratransit services all of our properties very active for people who can't even walk to the bus stop, absolutely.